right, boys, welcome back. This is week 2, or our second video. This is Commissioner Brandon. I've also joined with Commissioner Tim, and we're joined with our special guest for this video, MisterAmbassador Sergey. Welcome back to 2023 season. How you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good. Last year I was a bit nervous coming into this interview. For some reason, I'm still nervous. I don't know.
Little nerves is good. It keeps you on your toes, right? But you've gotten a lot more casual this year. No button down and tie, so you must be feeling a little better.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I disappointed you guys. I didn't get the memo about the jersey. I should have just rocked one. I didn't think about it, or at least should have worn my Montier Meerkats merch. I don't know.
It's a hot button item, I hear. It's top seller on Amazon, so.
Yeah, 50% off next year. So
that's awesome. Well, welcome back, and we're just going to jump right into the questions if that's cool with you. So talk to us a little bit about starting off in last year. Last year was your first year at the league. Mentioned you were a little bit nervous, but what were some of your goals coming into last season? Were you eyeing that championship, eyeing that contender status? How do you feel like you did last year?
In general, coming in, my goal was to make the playoffs. Obviously, after week 4, I realized when I lost to John, I realized that's not going to be attainable. And so I just tried my best to stay somewhat relevant, somewhat contending, but no way. Too many powerhouses in our league that were just smashing me every week. And, I realized, there's no chance of making the playoffs last year pretty early on. So yeah, I didn't accomplish my goal. A lot of things went wrong in my opinion. Getting rid of those first round picks to you, Brandon, for those scrubs. I mean, I could take that back any day. I mean, that was awful. And honestly, it impacted my long-term plan, really. I can't see myself contending for several years due to that, I think. And then throughout the year, I traded away Trevor Lawrence for Debo. I thought that was a big mistake in hindsight. I traded away JJ to Tim because I kind of wanted to mix up my team a bit and try to get into the playoffs, which was in hindsight also a mistake. And then obviously I had to get rid of Jalen Hurts to rebuild. And so that was kind of like a no-brainer in my opinion to get those 3 first-round picks just to start fresh, because I shot myself in the foot early on. Even before the season even started, I really messed up. So yeah, those are the things that went wrong. I mean, what went right? My commitment to the league, me doing my research, listening to podcasts. My heart's there. My heart's in the right place. I want to win. I want to contend. I want to bust balls. I'm here. But, as far as making the playoffs, that was definitely a disappointment.
Well, Sergey, I remember chatting with you in the same interview last season. And one of the things that Brandon and I both took away when we were, debriefing after the interview with you is just, I was just, taken aback by how committed you were. And I think being in a mental position, just, you wanted to learn about the league, and you being relatively new to fantasy football, period. I thought that was something that was really cool. And then it translates in the middle of the season. I think you're learning fast, and plus your engagement and your commitment to the league in terms of everything that you're doing is very evident, the stuff that you're doing. So for me, I'm just, as a league mate of yours, I'm just excited to see you continue to sort of blossom and learn. And there will be a season sometime in the future where MisterAmbassador is running the league in the table. So looking forward to that future.
In the last year, I mentioned that what's the weakness of my team? It's the manager. It's me. I'm learning. And so I still have that mindset. I'm not, Kyle's of the world where, I'm a little more grounded. So, I'm just learning. So,
What do you think, so you talked about your season in 2022. What were some of the memorable, impactful moves or trades or any results from the league as a whole outside of your roster in CCK?
Tim, you getting JJ for me, I thought that was huge. I thought that was the best. I thought that was the best trade for you throughout the season. And then you sneaking in Kittle at the end to really help you win. I think that if Kyle because I offered him Kittle many times, and I truly believe if he acquired Kittle, I think he would have been in the championship. Now, would he have won? I don't know, but he would have had a better shot, at the end. But he didn't. He chose not to, and you got him, and I think that was a huge move on your part. And I really liked what excited me towards the end of the season was Travis making moves to go into the playoffs. For me, I was rooting for the underdog. It made me happy to see him try to get into the playoffs. It really made it exciting towards the end just to see Travis pushing.
Yeah, it was a game. I think he ended up getting short by just a game, if I recall that correctly. But it was, yeah, I remember the ballsy moves that he made. I think he was 2 games back when he started to make those with like 4 games remaining in the season. That was really good to see. And then to your JJ and Kittle trades with you, Sergey, that I had made. The JJ trade, I obviously made sense for both of us. Obviously, everyone's high on JJ, but the Kittle move, I had no idea that it would impact me that way. Because he was slow all year, and that's probably why you wanted to trade him. Plus the fact that you want to go younger. But
for sure,
did not expect that he'd explode in the playoff weeks like we saw. And certainly without him, I don't think I make past the first week of playoffs. So appreciate that. And selfishly happy that was your most distinct memories from the 2022 season.
So let's transition into 2023. So it's a different mindset this year, different manager, different moves being made. What are your goals coming into 2023 now?
My goal is to not finish last. That's my goal for this year. From playoffs to not finishing last. And I think that's a really attainable goal for me. I view my roster as the weakest roster currently. But again, things can change. People make moves, people get injured, players get injured, and a lot of things could happen. And I could have a shot maybe finishing 9th, and I'd be really happy with that. Just getting out of the hole. That's my personal goal.
Talk to us a little bit about some of your upcoming picks, things that you're excited about. Have you started, researching future drafts yet? Are you looking forward to that? Are you planning on making those picks? Are you going to trade those picks? What are your thinking, or what's your thinking on that?
Well, I have been doing research, and I'm not going to get into the details of who I plan to draft. I don't know who's going to be who's going to be on the board. Who's picking who, I don't know, and so I'll leave that kind of no comment there. But I am looking forward to drafting. I don't think I'm going to trade any of my picks. I want to draft really, really bad.
And Sergey, as a reminder, what are the picks that you have?
I think it's the 109 and the 201 and the 206. Yeah.
And then looking at future picks, it looks like in 2024, you have 3 firsts. You have mine, Ryan's, and Kyle's.
Correct.
And then in 2025, you have 2. You have mine and Ryan's. So that's, a good stack of picks there. You're starting to accumulate for sure.
Yeah. And, I really like that we expanded as a league, and it's going to be interesting to see how the 10, manager kind of league, where it takes us. Cause I think there's going to be more parity, and people are going to have a shot to make the playoffs who may think they don't. So I'm looking forward to that.
So you think there's going to be a lot of maybe even mid-season trades because people who planned into the season without thinking they'd be able to make playoffs now has a chance to get in?
Yeah, I think so.
What are, just staying on the 2023 season on your roster, any players? You had some players. I'll go back to your draft last year. You're obviously biggest on Christian Watson. You moved back with me, and we're still able to score Christian Watson. So I remember you being, ecstatic about that. And Christian Watson, with sort of the injuries coming into the season and some of the early games that he missed, he finished the season extremely strong. So with you having Jordan Love now and double stacking it with Christian Watson, what are your sort of thoughts on how you're viewing Jordan Love, but also Christian Watson's predictions for this year?
I think Christian Watson is going to be the best receiver on the Packers. As far as Jordan Love, I don't know. There's just not much hype around him. People don't know what he's going to be. And, he could be solid, or he could really stink it up like Zach Wilson. And we just don't know. I'm looking forward to just kind of seeing more information coming out of camp in the next couple of weeks leading up to the league, to the NFL season. But I don't know. Supposedly he has a good connection with Dowds, but who knows?
And you also made, speaking of quarterbacks, you also made a trade recently in the offseason with Eve for 2025 Kyle first, getting Trey Lance back. So you got Brock Purdy and Trey Lance there. What's your take on the whole quarterback room in San Francisco?
I think Brock Purdy is going to get the starting job. If he stays healthy, I think he's going to finish the season. I predict that he's going to have a solid season, and I suspect Trey Lance might be traded, to a team that needs a quarterback. I made the trade for Trey Lance because I figured I had 4 first-round 2025s, and I figured, give it a shot. Trey Lance, could be the next star as far as quarterbacks in the league, and I had a pick to waste, kind of, or to gamble in a sense, and I did it, and I think the trade makes sense for both Yves and myself.
What are you talked about your goal of not wanting to finish last, so you've set the bar for yourself there. What are some of the things that you think need to happen in your roster today with the composition that you have, maybe even other moves that need to happen in order for you to sort of attain your goals?
I think Hawk needs to finish top 3 tight ends in the league this year. I think he's on track. I think he could. I think Christian Watson needs to ball, and I need one of my QBs to ball out, whether it's Brock or whether it's Love. I don't want to hit, ideally I'd love to hit on both, but one of them can play great. And if I could draft, a solid rookie who can put up some numbers, give me a chance, I'll go for it,
No, you should have some great options in the second round, but also with that 109 pick as well. So it'll be exciting to see the players that you're excited about this year in the back half of that first round pick, as you were with Christian Watson. That was obviously a hit. So hopefully those end up adding to your foundation for the future. Maybe moving forward. So you talked about your goals for this season. We obviously, when you're talking about the league as a whole, we've got 10 teams now, and 6 teams, as you sort of alluded to earlier, have a chance to get into the playoffs. What are your thoughts on how the league is shaping up in terms of who are the potential playoff contenders for those top 6 seats?
Yeah, and I gave it some thought this week, looking at everyone's kind of roster, and in no particular order, guys. Brandon goes into the playoffs. Tim goes into the playoffs. I think Jerry does too. I think he has a solid roster. I think Ryan makes the playoffs, so that's a total of 4 teams there. And I'm going to say Kyle goes in, and Travis. I have a feeling that Yves could sneak in with his roster, but I'm putting Travis in the 6th spot. I think he will make the playoffs this year.
Got it. And then obviously speaking of 6 playoff teams, we've got top 2 who are going to get the first week playoff bye. So it's more important than ever to finish in the top 2. Do you have any early calls or predictions on who you think are going to be the most likely to make those top 2 seedings in the regular season?
Yeah, I'm predicting it's going to be you and Brandon. That's my prediction.
Brandon, I feel like we're getting the commissioner sort of favors here from
I don't care what it is. I love the positivity surrounding Bills Mafia, man. Just coming out of last year where it was just troll city every time I get on the mic. This is nice.
And Sergey, maybe whittle that down a little bit. Who do you have that wins it all?
I thought about this, and I really believe Brandon's going to win this year.
Let's go.
I do. I think he has the best QBs. Now that could be debatable, but I think he has the best quarterbacks. I think he may have the best running backs. He's going to get Bijan. We'll see how your running backs do. How Breece Hall comes back. Who knows how he comes back? So Brandon could really be strong in the running back position. I do question his depth a little. I'm not a big fan of his Brandon Ayuk and Dobbins. Those are questionable players in my opinion. I don't know. Hopefully he could trade him, or he drafts really well and gets some studs who perform throughout the year. But I am predicting that Brandon hoists the trophy next year.
I love it.
And
Sergey, I know you've got some sort of fire or controversial take that you're sitting on, maybe more than one, but give us your hottest take right now. You're Stephen A. Smith. Like, what are you sitting on there?
Mad dog.
Yeah.
Kyle does not make the playoffs. Yves sneaks in. That's my
yeah.
Shots fired. Love
yeah.
it.
I'm just not sold on his team. It's a little old, and Dak Prescott, I question his ability to kind of play this year. I think, Stephon Diggs, we'll see how he doesn't have much draft picks. He's not drafting this year. He's going to have to make some moves to really contend. So I predict he doesn't make the playoffs and Yves sneaks in.
And is that take on that you think Kyle is going to ultimately choose to rebuild this season? Or
I think
pull out?
I think after this season, he's going to rebuild. He really broke my heart personally. I was rooting for him all year long. Everybody knows it. And boy, I was disappointed, and so, I love his competitive nature, his spirit. He's an awesome manager. I love his write-ups, but I think he's going to enter a rebuild after this year.
Yeah, he'll love hearing that take. So that should light him up a little bit.
and I think Yves' rebuild is going to be way faster than mine. Even though I have a lot more picks down the road, I just have a feeling he's gonna be in the playoffs probably sooner rather than later when I compare him to myself.
Well, hey, Sergey, so, before we sign off on this video, we want to give you a chance to sort of act as an advertising board for your own greedy, selfish needs to talk to the rest of the managers about what you're looking to do. So feel free to use this time to get any advertisements out for any kind of trades you want to make, any kind of moves you want to make, or any call outs to any manager in particular that will help you sort of, accomplish the goals.
Hey, I like me some Garrett Wilson. I love me some Trevor Lawrence back. Waddle. I've always wanted Waddle. So Ryan, if we could maybe work something out, I'd love it. And again, guys, my players are also available. My picks are also available. I kind of want to do a little less trading this year. However, I'm open for business if the opportunity's there. So, yeah.
As someone that's made probably 30 trades with you over the last year, I'm calling bullshit on the less trades this year. We started off this video, I don't know if it recorded, but with Sergey saying he didn't want to make trades this year. He really wanted to sit on his team. And now everyone's available and all the picks are available. So we see how quickly this changes. I think that's great. I think you're on the right track for sure. Before we sign off, though, I do know that Mr. Ambassador has some big news to share, if you're willing.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Brandon, for setting that up for me. Just want to let you know, guys, Mr. Ambassador Jr. is going to be born in November.
Let's go.
So we're excited. Excited times in our family. We've been waiting a long time for this, and it's finally happening. And November is going to be here sooner rather than later. I think Ryan's kid Sierra is going to have someone to play with, maybe in the future meetups or whatever. So looking forward to just growing as a family.
Well, it's the potential successors to the Mr. Ambassador's crown and
That's right.
Racer Dynasty when you're talking about Mr. Ambassador Jr. and Sierra. So
that's right.
That's great news, Sergey. Congratulations. And yeah, I'm sure November is here going to be here in a blink of a moment.
Yes. And just to let you know, guys, I've been working on my golf game. I've been taking lessons. I got a couple more lessons to do. I'm on Tim and John's team, and my goal is to bring the trophy home, boys. That's my goal. And I personally think that the original team from Canada with Ryan, are the favorites. I do, but hey, I'm gonna give it my all in these lessons, and I'm chipping, I'm driving, I'm getting better. So get prepared.
We made a
Brandon,
pact at the beginning of the year that neither of us would get lessons, and this guy goes out and gets friggin' lessons. So there we go.
That's the competitive fire. That's why he's my
ended up
teammate,
on
Brandon.
Commissioner Tim's team. Yeah.
Sergey, I'm looking forward to seeing you in a few weeks. It's gonna, man, 4 weeks, so it's gonna be here in a blink of an eye too. So
Yes.
appreciate you getting the golf lessons in. We'll make sure we get some time on Wednesday or Thursday to get some putting in.
Oh, absolutely.
Big difference for us.